I am kind of what's coming up a lot for me, and this is tied in with everything that's going on for me physically at the moment as well. It kind of sparked when we met, which is really interesting around the
Uh-huh.
summer solstice, that heightened, that brightness, that sun.
Oh, that sun. Yeah.
And it's around chaos. And it's so at the moment, yeah, I think I'm a maiden of mayhem.
Yes. Hello, beloved listeners. This is Adrienne, writer of stories and songs, witch, emergent strategist, and pleasure activist, living in the land of the Eno and Lumbee peoples. And this is How to Survive the End of the World, our podcast about learning from apocalypse with grace, rigor, and curiosity. When I say our, I'm including my co-host and sister Autumn, who's currently on an international trip with her babies. In her absence, and in honor of my book Fables and Spells, I'm going full witch this season and having conversations with some of my favorite witches and teachers, and also reading you little bits and pieces from the book. What I mean by witch is people who work with elements of the natural world, including our human nature, to generate more possibilities. This includes herbalist, this includes root work, this includes spell casting, song building, altar building. Every witch that I bring on has been a totally new, different experience. So I think that is something we're learning from here. A reminder, we don't have any sponsors. There's no big funder behind this program, just you all. So if you love what you're hearing, if it's of service to you, please head on over to patreon.com/endoftheworldshow and become part of our Patreon community. We also have exclusive content there. Autumn and I recently did a catch up conversation where we talk about travel, love, writing, everything. So check it out. Now, my guest today, I'm really, really, really excited because I literally found her in the countryside of Ireland. We found each other on the spring equinox in Ireland, and as soon as we were in her presence, Autumn and I were both together on this writing retreat in Ireland. We looked at each other and we were like, we're keeping her. We're keeping Claire Davey. So Claire Davey is an herbalist, a witch. She brings potions, she brings spells, she works around the equinox. She does so much. And she does it from a place called American Village in Ireland. And I am just blown away that you're actually here, that we manifested this. Claire, welcome. Welcome to the show.
Oh, it's so good to be here. So good
It's
to
so good
see
to
your
have you
face
here. You
again.
too.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
inviting me.
Oh, you made such a huge impression on us. And it was so clear, I was like, I want to learn more from you. I want others to learn
Mm,
more from you. Our group, we had a group of writers there who were just so magical. I mean, it was a really gorgeous,
yeah,
spiritual, beautiful gathering. But everyone was like, "Oh, Claire, like learning so much from you." And I think one of our students even came to you afterwards.
that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So
Christine. Yeah.
tell me, how are you right now today? How are you doing?
How am I doing today?
Hmm.
I'm not doing too bad. Yeah, I've had kind of a strange roller coaster time the last month or so
Mm.
that I can tell you a bit more about as we go on. Um, so in response to that, I am getting different kind of healing work done on
Hmm.
myself. Um,
Okay.
so I was at or with a good friend of mine this morning, um, Kira, who did some kind of energy work with me.
Oh,
And it's yeah, it's really grounding me and bringing me towards the place I know I need to get to.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
and it's really interesting, and I'm so delighted I'm on with you now as we approach Samhain.
I
Um,
know.
and it's really interesting because when we met at the solstice, we've gone through this turn, um, and that's kind of when it all began. It's kind of I've been reflecting on it a lot. It's really
Yeah.
interesting. I'll tell you more in a while.
Okay, beautiful. That's exciting.
So
It
I'm
was a
yeah
turning
I'm
point. Yeah.
yeah I'm good. I'm good today. I feel grounded. Um, I feel connected to my body, and my body feels connected to the earth, which is good.
Yeah.
It's a really nice feeling.
That's the way. That is the way.
Mm,
Well, I'm glad to hear it. I am coming into this space. I'm feeling also pretty good. It's
mm,
been a really intense couple of weeks in in my life as the situation has unfolded in Gaza. It's really
yeah.
uplifted for me and reminded me like why I love organizers and organizing and why it is so important to have people in my life who are educating and who have big expanded hearts and who
Mm,
understand that we're really at every moment that harm happens in the world, we are there's also this opening to build that movement of people who want love and want connection and want
mm,
justice with each other. And so I've done a lot of grieving and a lot of feeling of just the responsibility of being of the US empire. And I'm also really grateful for the community that I'm connected to and learning from and learning with in this moment. So that's been that's been like a
mm,
lot of what's been taking up my mental and emotional and spiritual space. And then in my body, I'm feeling just this week as I'm talking to you, there's a major pivot happening. Like I have been doing this work around disordered eating and binging, and I'm 4 months from a binge, which is starting to feel like,
okay.
okay, that's something.
Mm,
And now I'm learning how to eat. So
okay.
part
Okay.
of why I'm like, I have my
Ah,
breakfast here because I'm like, I'm supposed to eat breakfast.
mm.
That's one of my
Yeah,
big
eat your
practices.
breakfast.
I
Eat your
have to eat
breakfast.
breakfast while I
Yeah.
talk to you.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting to be 45 and
Mm,
still learning basics of existing with a body.
well,
So I'm good. I'm here with you, and I'm
yeah.
really excited
Yeah.
to be here with you. Um, and I want you to tell people before we dive into the questions, can you tell people what American Village, why there's a place called American Village, or why there are American villages
Yeah.
in Ireland? Because I remember that when you told us, I was so moved by why it's called that. Because I was like, what is this American Village?
Yeah. So it's America Village, not
America,
American. Yeah, America.
America Village.
America Village, Balia Verica, in Irish.
Oh,
And it's so when I first moved here, which was about 12, 13 years ago, um, and I started up my business, and I decided to call my business, name it after the place I was in,
Mm-hmm.
America Village Apothecary. And I was really, yeah, where did that name come from?
Yeah.
What's it about? Um, so I spoke to lots of people locally around here, and they all told me the same thing. And then I also spoke to the curator in the Museum of Country Life that's in County Mayo, not far from here. And her
Uh-huh.
husband is an expert in Irish place names. So she said,
Oh,
yeah, I'll get him to look into it too.
oh.
Um, and it's as I had been told, basically where America Village is situated is kind of at a crossroads. Um, even though it's not a crossroads, there's only two roads. There's not four roads. Well, it's not crossing. It's more kind of a Y junction. And one road goes way back into a valley
Mm.
called Glantraig. and then the other road is the main road. So it's where those two roads intersect. And during the famine times
Yeah.
in Ireland, when there was mass emigration and so many people were dying, so many people were starving, and so many people were leaving the country
Mm-hmm.
before the famine and afterwards. And
Mm.
of course, everybody was going west to America. So what they often used to have were these events that were called American wakes.
Mm-hmm.
So for those who know the Catholic faith, or for those that don't, basically the wake is when somebody passes and you wake the body the night before the burial,
Mm-hmm.
which is it's a celebration of that person's life.
Yeah.
It's they're actually the host of the party,
Yeah.
and so everybody is celebrating that person. Usually there's a lot of storytelling involved, there's a lot of music, a lot of drinking, dancing. It's a celebration of that person's life.
Mm-hmm.
So what used to happen before these emigrations, or before people were leaving, is they would hold these American wakes in different communities for the people who were leaving to go to America, because they'd never see them again.
That's right.
So it was like a living funeral for those people,
Yeah.
basically. So this it was at this intersection, this in the road, that the American wakes used to take place, um,
Wow.
and that's where the name America Village then comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a few of them in Ireland. But yeah, it's also interesting because it does predate the the big famine that was here as well. So
Yeah.
it was ongoing even before then.
I always get so fascinated by our species and how, how normal now it feels to be able to travel, to go
Mm,
between places if you have a certain level of privilege, if you have a certain level of capacity, but that there
yeah,
are still people who are making the one-way journey, and
yeah,
or a journey that might be one way, and just how all of these times layer over each other, right?
mm,
It's
mm,
amazing to me. Thank you for sharing that.
mm,
And my first question is, I'm calling this witch school and I'm talking about witch season. But
mm.
how do you identify the work you do? Like, do you walk around like I'm a witch, or do you use other language for yourself?
I always kind of struggle with labels.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I was thinking about this question, and because I've always struggled with, like, what am I? What do I do? Because I do lots of things.
You do so many.
And identities, I see it as, I guess I see myself as being quite fluid.
Hmm.
And when I look more deeply into that, I guess, you know putting a name on myself, I think it's to do with an aversion, or some kind of, it's to do with attachment. For
Uh-huh.
one, I don't want to attach myself to one particular thing.
Yep.
And also it's to do with time, because I guess I'd see myself, not linear, that it's an ever evolving, I'm evolving all the time,
All
you
the
know
time.
um so whereas I see one attachment kind of being suspended in a time,
Hmm.
or one label, or a label, or so. But I guess for the moment, what I am kind of, what's coming up a lot for me, and this is tied in with everything that's going on for me physically at the moment as well, it kind of sparked when we met, which is really interesting, around the
Uh-huh.
summer solstice, that heightened, that brightness, that sun.
Oh, that sun. Yeah.
And it's around chaos. And it's so at the moment, yeah, I think I'm a maiden of mayhem. I call myself
Yes.
that for now.
I love that. A
Yeah,
maiden of
inside it out.
mayhem.
Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah.
that
Um,
resonates.
yeah, mayhem. Maidens of mayhem, I think,
Maidens of
is what
mayhem.
our world needs right now.
I agree with you.
Mm.
When did you realize that you were drawn to the work that you do? I know that there's so much
Mm.
inside your mayhem and so
Mm.
much inside your offer, but when did you feel
Mm.
drawn to? I know that there's the apothecary. I know that there's spell
Mm.
work, song work. Yeah, what did you
Mm.
feel called?
Um, I suppose it all started when I was a child.
Mm,
When I was born in Yorkshire. I wasn't born here in Ireland. I was born in
mm-hmm,
Yorkshire.
mm-hmm,
Um, and my parents traveled a lot.
mm-hmm,
My father's people were gypsies.
mm-hmm,
So I think my mom's weren't. Um, but he really struggled with staying in one place
mm-hmm.
for any length of time. So we moved around a lot. Um, and when I was about those real informative kind of years, I guess, between 4 and 8, or we spent a lot of time in Cornwall, and we lived on a boat. We lived in a bus. We lived in a converted barn. But all the time that we were moving, I had this stability of my parents and their love,
Yeah.
um, but also my mother and my grandmother um, would have always kind of had this strong connection with nature,
Uh-huh.
with plants. And then because of the kind of world we were living in and moving in, it was full of hippies. It was full of. So we'd go to. I remember being in houses and women would be spinning wool at the wheel, and
Mm-hmm.
they'd be. So I was exposed to all that. Um, when we lived on the boat, this big boat came in. It was called Free, and it was traveling around the world full of hippies. And my dad wanted us to, tried his best for us to move onto the boat and go to South America, but my mom was having none of it. She
It's
put her
like, no,
foot down
thank
at that.
you.
But just I got to play with all these adults and children who were also kind of nomadic, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it, from that stage, I got this grounding. I think this real sense of connection with the elements,
Uh-huh.
um, with being outdoors, with the sea, with the wind, with the land. We'd walk across fields to get to school. So I think that was the beginning of it. But then I kind of, it's like, yeah, I'll put that in a little box now. Now I'm a
Yeah.
teenager,
Yeah.
and it was just all left. And I pursued then work I went to drama college for a couple of years.
Ah,
And then I came to Ireland when I was just 18. I kind of ran away here.
ah,
Then I pursued more activism work, more social kind of community work, and I got heavily involved in
yeah.
that kind of work. I went to college and I studied community work, and I was drawn into that work. And then it was when I moved here, about 13, I think it's about 13 years ago now, something like that.
Yeah.
And I moved here to move in with my then boyfriend, who's my partner. We have 2 children now, who's families, he's 7 generations here.
Oh,
So I
wow.
added an eighth, and
Yeah.
both my children with Michael were born here at home as well in America Village. So I know I'm here for a reason.
Oh, yeah.
The place brought me here.
Yeah.
I as soon as I got here, the box that had been closed for so long burst open.
Wow.
And I started to work with the land again, with the elements, with so it's since then I've really kind of it's been my work, yeah,
Beautiful.
since then.
I love that. And I love it feels like there's a lot of, the land calling you, place
Mm,
calling you, some
mm.
intuition calling you, some legacy in there. Beloved survivors, it's autumn. Wow, I've been loving this witch season. I trust that you have too, because it's just excellent. I'm still on sabbatical for a few more months, but Adrian and I did just drop a new Patreon exclusive episode over at patreon.com/endoftheworldshow. And it's a voice memo conversation that we recorded over the course of a few weeks. So if you love me and miss hearing my voice, if you love our show enough to listen to Adrian and I talk about new love, about aging, about roaches and utopias, you can head over to our Patreon and become a patron at any level. And you'll get immediate access to this most recent exclusive episode, as well as our collection of show merch, all of the Ask Us Anything episodes that we've made, and a forthcoming virtual live show that we're planning. All of it is yours. I miss you. Adrian and I thank you for your support. We love you. Yeah, and go to patreon.com/endoftheworldshow to check out all the juiciness. Okay, talk soon. Do you have any ancestors in your witch lineage that you would claim, like either formally, that
Mm-hmm.
since you started to turn and face, is there someone who you've been like learning from or learning that methodology? Or do you feel like it's really been, an informal discovery process for you?
I the main lineage, I've had lots of teachers that have come into my life and come
Yeah.
out, including yourself, including Autumn,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
just
Thank you.
people who I've been meeting with, people who, and then more formal teachings. But the lineage that I would very much identify with is Celtic cosmology, really,
Ah,
particularly the calendar, the wheel of the year, the other world
mm,
aspect, and the main deity within that would be the Cailleach,
mhm.
who I'd really identify with and use that lineage. It's interesting, we have so Celtic cosmology, we have everything that we have written down was actually written by Christians.
Oh, interesting. About y'all.
Yeah, so we have
Mhm.
even though there's an awful lot of that vernacular, meaning written within the Irish language,
Mhm.
history there, it was all written by, so the Book of Kells, it was all written in monasteries, yeah, by monks or by bards or the filly, which would have been known as the filly, the poets,
Ah, okay.
in pre-Christian times were often employed to write those works as well.
Okay.
So everything that we read about pre-Christian Ireland was actually written by. So that's the reason I'm saying that. I guess is it's
Yeah.
just really important to acknowledge that,
Yeah.
and to remember that. But having said that, we do know a lot based on archaeology,
Oh, yeah.
and we know that in megalithic times, times of Newgrange, which I know you went to visit when you were here for the
Yes. Yeah.
solstice. Um, there were these rituals, and there were these beliefs. There were the alignment, the alignment with the stars, the alignment with the moon. Everything was built in alignment. Everything was measuring something. Um, they were astronomers.
Yeah.
They were really connected with the sky, the moon, the stars, the planets, the sun,
Yeah.
and all of those elements are still there. They're still guiding us.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's and one of the other key teachings in that lineage as well is, around the wheel of the year, but the darkness. So we're approaching Samhain now, which is
Yeah.
next week. I love this time of the year. So I'm just a week. It's my birthday as well. A week out from my
Oh,
birthday.
blessed be.
So I'll be 50 next Friday.
Oh, happy
So
birthday.
really, thank you. Really entering this dark half of the year.
Yeah.
Um, and our ancestors believed that everything began in darkness.
Hmm.
It's darkness always precedes light.
Hmm.
And it's so important that the dark and light are balanced, which they're not in our world today.
Not at all.
Um, all birth is preceded by chaos as well, which
Hmm.
was also a belief in Celtic cosmology. And the wheel of the year, uh, it begins. So the Celtic New Year is Halloween. It's Samhain.
Yeah.
Three nights and 3 days, and each of the stations on the wheel are 3 nights and 3 days, and we begin life. We begin the year in darkness.
Yes.
And there's something so that just strikes such a chord with me in regard to that, and something around, sacrifice
Hmm.
and chaos. The chaos isn't bad. It's not a bad thing. We often think of, we often fear chaos.
Yeah.
Um, but it's where change happens. It's that liminal time. It's where creativity and evolution happens. And I think, our world is in that space right now, in that
Absolutely.
liminal space of
Yeah.
chaos and
Yes.
mayhem. But I also think it's something that we're terrified to talk about. I think sacrifice doesn't have to be a bad thing.
Yeah.
We have to sacrifice things. We have to look at it in a way that it's given something up in the service of evolution,
Oh, wow.
um, to something better. We're
Yes.
moving, we have to set before we can move on to something better. And these are all key beliefs in Celtic cosmology,
Beautiful.
especially around the wheel of the year. And
Yeah.
then it's all you had the dark half of the year that we're moving into is the feminine half of the year. The masculine half then is the bright half of the year.
Uh-huh.
Um, and all these teachings, the more I learn, um, from whatever lineage you look towards, they're all saying the same thing.
Yeah. There's so much
There,
alignment. There's so much
there's
alignment.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you for that. It's really, I think this is one of the things that always humbles me most in my humanity is when I meet
Mm,
someone who's like, here's a whole other system that you didn't know about.
mm,
And inside that system, you can hear the echoes of things you believe. And
yeah,
then I'm like, okay, there's something larger always unfolding than the small piece of the puzzle that I can see or that I can touch. And
mm,
that actually settles my system so much inside the
Mm,
chaos, right?
yeah.
Um, so, in a given day, right, what are all the ways that you're doing the work that you're
Mm,
doing, that fluid, witchy, Kaliak work?
mm. So it varies. It
Yeah.
varies from day to day. It varies throughout a day. So one of the main ways that I would work is, and I'm kind of moving away from it now a little more,
Mm.
um, but moving away from it, I don't. Moving away from it in a particular through a particular medium, I guess. So it's through connecting people with nature.
Uh-huh.
So my work around the apothecary work, let's
Mhm.
say, um, is what I like to do is really connect people to nature, but when they're not expecting it. Um, um,
As someone who's
and
experienced that, I know yes, you're good at that.
yeah, so and through a sensual way,
Yeah.
so through the senses, through so it's kind of seep it into people like they're a sieve, you know.
Yeah.
um so through taste, through flavor, through smell, working with plants to create elixirs, to create syrups, to distill plants, to create flavorful liquid
Yeah.
drinks. So that's one area that
Yeah.
I would work in. Um,
I
and
had to tell you, like we were like, there was almost no conflict during our week except when it came to fighting over who got the leftover elixir. And then all of a sudden I was like, I want it. Yeah, it's really, I mean, you make
uh,
delicious things.
Um, so that's one way. And I'm shifting away from that a little bit because it used to be what I did 80% of my time.
Ah,
Whereas
okay.
now I think the world needs, the world needs me to do other stuff right now.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so I would, the way I'm working now, I guess, is more using the Kaliak. And so the Kaliak is the old crone in Irish
Ah,
in Celtic cosmology. She's the wise woman who's lived a life, who has seen things, who has learned so much,
mm,
um, and she will not indulge you or your fantasies. She'll
mm,
cut you to the bone and
mm.
tell you what you need to do. It's like, get your shit done,
Get it
you
done.
know? And she takes no prisoners. She's like Kali.
Yeah.
And in fact, this is something I wonder as well. So I this new course on my website now, the Kaliak, it's a ritual, and I mentioned this in that I must do more research to see, is the deity, is that where the Kaliak
Uh,
comes from? You know, what connections
Right.
may be there.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, she's the tough love mother energy. She's and very much I feel as well at this stage in my life, as I'm
Yes.
getting older,
Yeah.
as as I'm turning corners, as I'm going through transitions, I can identify with her more and more and more.
Yeah.
That it's like, it's just like stop the bullshit now.
Yeah.
This is not what we need.
That's right.
Yeah. So that line of activism, kind of ecofeminism, um, doing work with land,
Hmm.
but in that way,
Hmm.
and um, trying to inspire people, I guess,
Hmm.
to 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 make a change. To, there's one thing that I'm going off on a bit of a tangent now, I guess, but
Yes, go on it.
yeah, there's a kind of a Celtic revival going on at the moment, a little bit.
Mm,
Around the wheel of the year and different practices and Celtic cosmologies, and which is great.
hmm.
But it's really the world of stories is so important. Stories are what we are. I do,
Right, right.
um, but the world oftentimes of mythology and it can be so seductive.
Mm,
It can be so we can get so comfortable there,
yeah,
you know, without moving,
yeah,
without we can drop into that world and never leave it,
that's right.
because there's so much. It's so rich, it's so seductive, it's so attractive. So I guess
Yeah,
what I'm doing a little bit is using that as a hook
yeah,
to then hopefully the people will get a little bit more active and engaged, and
yeah,
which I know people are. There's a movement. There is definitely there's a movement happening, which really my heart explodes when I think about that. There's so much there's so much darkness.
hmm,
There's so much mayhem, there's so much chaos, but
hmm,
amongst it and amidst it all, there's still this alignment of
yeah,
of love, of strength,
yeah,
of power,
yeah.
um, and I do think that that's what's going to save us.
Yeah, as you were speaking, I was just thinking of the birthing process and how all life comes from the dark,
Mm,
and at first it's so small, that
mm,
when I do my work as a doula
mm,
with someone, it's like, okay, now you've got a lima bean, now you've got
mm,
an avocado instead of whatever, but it's so small for so long.
mm,
And it's like, that's not that, how could that become something that's going to live, right? How
mm.
can that become something that could stand on its own? And but it's only through that time in the darkness where there's a lot of mystery and a lot of not knowing, and a lot of, it's like we can't see necessarily everything that's
Yeah,
happening, but the miracle is unfolding. And I always
and
think about, yeah,
it's good for us not to be able to see, I think,
I
because
think
we've
it's
got so attuned
necessary.
to we
Yeah,
need to see everything and we
yeah.
don't.
We don't. And I think actually when we can't, we feel so much more.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I've been really leaning into that in this period of history. When I look at things, I'm like, it's not making sense. I don't see a way
Mm,
forward. I don't see how we're going to get there. But if I close my eyes and I can
mm,
feel, I can feel a sustaining energy, a
mm.
sustaining energy of life,
Yeah,
right? And I'm like, it's going to be, you can't imagine it. It's beyond your imagination, but that doesn't
yeah,
mean it's not very real and already
yeah.
unfolding. So
Beautiful.
I really appreciate
Mm,
that, Claire.
mm.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to share about how you're doing the work you do? And
Then
maybe
I
also who are you doing this work with? Yeah.
yeah, the around the taste and flavor, and that connecting people with nature,
Yeah.
that's kind of piecemeal at the moment. People might contact me and ask me to do various things, and
Yeah.
that's how I'm doing that work. The other work around the Kaliak, and that's ritual work as well. I'm doing that online at the moment,
Ah,
just as an online offering.
beautiful.
Um, and then the other work I guess I'm doing at the moment is on myself. And that's to do with this. So soon after we first met at the
Yeah.
solstice, which is the pinnacle of the masculine energy in the Celtic wheel. So what that means is it's all about, it's the bright half of the year. It's about putting yourself out there. It's about doing, showing yourself to the world. Um, and our this is what most of nearly everybody actually lives in, this half of the world or this half of the year all the time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
in winter, people want to go to the sun
Yes.
because they don't want to be in the darkness.
Yes.
People
Yes.
don't want people, and we're forced into that do what,
Yes.
productivity,
Yes.
and it's not healthy to
Right.
live this way constantly, 12
Yeah.
months of the year.
And
And
not
these are the
adjust for the
teachings of the,
hibernation. Yeah.
exactly, of the Celtic wheel. It's that, yeah, it's, we definitely need to have that, but we also need to have the balance of that dark half that we're now moving into, which is about being, not doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's about, just death, darkness, surrender.
Yeah.
It's about that surrender, and it's an active waiting.
Mm.
And I think that's that's actually where we need to nearly have more of that at the moment before we reach the balance. But that's what we need. But anyway, since the solstice,
Yeah.
I yeah, this notion of chaos and mayhem really kind of over, overtook me. It was there.
Mm.
Um, and I was thinking about it all the time. Then I was hearing things, and it was just, it
Wow.
was coming at me from all angles. And I was just like, oh yeah, that's interesting, but then I started getting these. I get headaches anyway, but I started getting these bad headaches, and I was getting like this headache that just went on and on. And it was soon after the solstice that I also started getting this kind of balance, like not vertigo, but more like stepping onto dry land after coming off a boat kind of thing.
Totally.
This
Totally.
sense of
I'm shifting.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, which I ended up 8 days in hospital and
Oh,
got
wow.
all the
Okay.
tests. Yeah, I got all the tests, MRIs, brain, heart, the
Yes.
full, and everything. Thank thank God, thanks be to God, everything was fine. Nothing
Mm.
was, and their prognosis was it's migraines.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
I
after the
had the similar
first,
thing happen to me a couple of years ago. I had this massive headache that sent me into the ER. I thought I was having a stroke. And
yes,
I
they
got
thought it was a
there.
mini stroke.
I thought it was a stroke. They thought it was
That's my
like
right arm
everybody was
went
like, what's
numb.
going on? Yeah, I
Yeah,
was feeling sharp pains all down the side
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
everything. And then they got in, they were like, it's a migraine. It's the first
yeah,
one. They were like, this is an ice pick headache. But then after that, now I know that it's literally like when my system is overloaded and too much has come in, and then the world starts to
yeah.
seem too bright. And I have to, because I start to feel things throughout my body as if something
Mm,
is malfunctioning.
mm,
But if I don't remember, then I'm like, it's a heart attack. And then I'm like, no, close your eyes, cover your eyes, see if that impacts it. And if that does, then I know I need to get in the darkness
yeah, yeah,
and I will be okay.
yeah. And
But I think it's because so much is moving in the world. And if you can feel it, you can
yeah,
it's an overwhelming
it's,
amount of energy and
yeah.
change and chaos.
And I went the first session I went to
Wow.
with Kira, it's like she was just holding my feet, really. She
Yes.
didn't move, and it was after that, it was like I was saying to Michael, like something has shifted. I don't know what it is, but something. And the more I thought about it, and then it came to me so clearly that I was embodying the mayhem
Oh.
and the chaos. It
Yeah,
was like it had seeped in, and it was, and as soon
in
as it
you.
was like a light bulb moment, I was like, wow, because it was from it the time it was from as well. um
Wow.
and as soon as I realized that, and kind of accepted that, yeah, this is, it's this, you have to go through this. You have to accept that this is where you're at right now, and you have to go through this chaos, this
Yes.
transformation. It's all part of
Yeah.
it, and I felt much better since.
Wow. I mean, it
So
does help
interesting.
to accept, right? Just be like, oh, this is the medicine that's moving through me right now.
Yeah,
Because even sometimes
yeah,
I'm like, that being versus doing, I think
mm,
so often I'm like, how do I turn this into a lesson or how do I turn this into an
yeah,
offer?
mm,
And I keep getting the wisdom of like, just be. Right now,
yeah,
it's a time to
yeah,
just be.
yeah,
And you have
yeah,
produced enough things in the world right now. You need to be. And
yeah,
you are a channel. So just be.
yeah,
And whatever is supposed to come through will come through. And
yeah,
there's an obedience. Maybe you know what I mean by this. Like there's
mm,
being obedient to chaos or being obedient to a
mm-hmm,
time where things are coming undone. Um,
yeah,
where
yeah,
it's like, oh, you don't have to untie anything, you don't have to pull a string, but if you just are,
mm,
then you'll be available to what's actually changing. You'll be available to what's needed in a moment.
yeah, yeah. And I think it's about listening really
Mm-hmm.
carefully,
Mm-hmm.
to that small voice, with it,
Yes.
to that intuition, to that, because like that, I'm kind of, oh yeah, I know what the dark half of the year is about. I know what the bright half of the year is about. Yeah, I'm gonna hibernate now for still I'm doing. Let's do this. Let's do that. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
even the other day I went for a walk in the woods, and it was the longest walk I'd taken since all this happened. Um, and I pushed it because I had been feeling so good. I was like,
Yep.
no, I'll do the full circuit,
I
and
can
it
do it.
knocks me out for the day. Instead of listen, I knew
Yeah. Yeah.
halfway around,
I know.
now's the time to stop.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting. I'm still it's a teaching for me, so
I
I'm
really
still
like that.
learning. So
Yeah.
that's part of my work at the moment, is just really listening,
Mhm.
really listening. And especially this year, come from Sawana, is to really surrender. I've given up my job. I was working in a distillery. That's gone. Um, it's just like, no, this,
No, you got
you
to be
know,
available. It's
yeah,
time.
yeah, available
Yeah.
just to be,
To be. Yeah. I
this
mean, it's so
active
interesting
waiting.
too, the like arc, because, 2 or 3 days before I met you, if that maybe, yeah, 2 days before I met you, I had done that massive ritual in Amsterdam
Yeah, yeah,
where I really felt my ancestors come in
mm,
into the room, mine and everyone else's. I could feel like
mm,
their presence so
mm,
strongly. And I surrendered to their presence. And then since then, it has been so easy.
mm,
Something has been so easy, like inside of all the hard times, something has been so easy. It's just like, just be, you'll know what to do
yeah,
in a given moment. Just
yeah,
listen. But that listening, there's something I want to ask you here. Let me see what it is. There's something about, so for me, surrender is also tied to a kind of trust,
mm-hmm,
right?
yeah,
It's like what I have to trust
mm,
something to hold me, catch me, like,
yeah,
guide me, whatever it is.
yeah,
And I think for such a long time, I haven't had that trust because I'm a doer. I'm a
mm, yeah.
Aries rising. I'm
I
going to
can
get it
relate.
done. I'm
Yeah.
a Virgo. I can come up with a perfect system. I'm going to
Mm,
do. And the trust flooding through my system, it feels like there's a new nervous system inside of my
wow.
body flowing with trust and impulse that I also am trying to now figure out, can I help let this be part of my health? Because
Wow.
I'm so used to being able to, there's a way that I've been able to do that with the world. I'm like, oh, the world
Mm,
needs a poem or the world needs something
mm,
right now. And I feel like it's gotten so small. Like that's also happening, but there's some part of it that's really small that's like, also you can feel inside yourself what enough is. Also, you can feel like right now you just need to sit still in the bath. Right now you need
mm.
to be still, be.
And did that trust, that sense of trust, come from that experience with the ancestors?
It quite deepened. it quite deepened. So I
Okay.
think
Yeah.
before that, it was like, I know someone else has partnered with me in a
Mm,
lot of what I'm doing. I can really feel
mm,
like often if I'm facilitating a large room or if I'm facilitating a large moment, or even sometimes when I'm writing, I will feel like I am not alone in doing
mm,
this work and something
mm.
divine, something holy is with me doing this work. I can feel that. But that was the first time that I was like, ancestors, come
Yeah.
into the
Yeah.
room with me. And
Mm,
then they came and I could see them as distinct entities and energies. And I was
mm.
like, oh, you're all here. And actually you're always here. You're always available. I'm never alone. I'm never without you.
Yeah. And what I think is I had written something here just in my notes about
Yeah.
yeah, the just around the ancestral stuff and going back to that just being and active waiting and
Mhm.
surrender,
Active waiting.
because I really think that whatever about how our ancestors can support and hold us up,
Yes.
they also need us,
They need
which we
us.
often overlook. We
It's a mutual
often,
relationship.
it's a mutual relationship.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
we often overlook that.
I
We're
think that's
asking
right.
them, but they're also asking us.
Yeah. It's a relationship. I
And we
think that
can't
that's the
hear that.
piece.
Yeah. We can't
Yeah.
hear that, or we can't be of service to them
Mm.
unless we're still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's right. And it's been very difficult. Like I have a whole team of people working with me right now on just helping me to slow down and
Mm,
deepen into whatever offer I'm making.
mm,
That it's not, I don't have to make the offers as if I'm a fireman coming to deliver the hose. Like
yeah.
I can make the offers as if I am an oak tree, right? I can make the
Mm,
offers as if I am the
mm,
ocean, that there's a sense of permanence and something underground and something deep and out of sight that is
mm,
right rooting me.
yeah.
So yeah, I love this, Claire.
Mm,
I love the timing of this unfolding in you and unfolding in the world, because I know from having experienced the medicine of your offers that whatever is good for you and growing in you is good for the world.
oh,
Like I
thank you
can
so
feel
much.
that.
Mm,
Um, so a question I've been asking my witches is, what witchy skills, magical skills, what skills do you wish that everyone had access to in this apocalyptic
mm,
time,
mm.
or practices?
I think it would have to be that if everyone could kind of blink 3 times and then when they open their eyes, they could see the subtlety of the world we live in, the
Ah,
nuance, um, energy of the world, the threads, the weave, the web
yeah,
between everything. But most of all, that they could see, and I say they, myself, including myself in that I often think, if I'm out walking and it's windy, which it's often windy around here,
yeah,
the west of Ireland, but if love was like the wind, if we could feel love like we can feel the wind,
uh-huh.
or if we could see love like we could see, I don't know, the birds or whatever, then, or like fog, let's say, you wouldn't be able to
Yeah,
see anything else. We wouldn't be able to see anything else
yeah,
because
it's everywhere.
it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. And if people could just put on those magic goggles or blink their eyes 3 times and open them and see that love that connects us all together,
Mhm.
especially these times of violence, war, that, and then maybe people would learn how to respond rather than react.
I think that's right. I really think that's correct. Yeah. I
and
keep
to
thinking like love is when it doesn't get to land, or love is not given room to grow and express. I think it mutates into this violent thing. I think it can become something else. And I'm like, oh, you have, like, I do think when you see it flowing everywhere around you, there's always a move that protects love and protects the connective tissue.
Because it's everywhere, even in the darkest of places, and use, dark in this sense, using that word as in war, in conflict, in there's always still an element of love.
Yes,
it's everywhere.
There is. I've been thinking about it a lot right now, that I'm like, the inside of conflict, the people who are like, I'm willing to stand up and say something, I'm willing to stand up and tell my story. There's so much self-love, people love, place love, connective love inside of that. And yeah, I love this. I love that.
And we kind of, from some of those greatest leaders and teachers like Gandhi, Martin Luther King, it's this is what it's about. It's, and it's been brave enough to surrender to that.
That's right. I love that. We have reached the end of our little window here together, and I've been closing out each episode with reading a poem, one of the poems from this book, Fables and Spells, to my guest. And the one I want to share with you is called the Authenticity Chant. And it reminds me of you. I feel like when I met you, it was just like, you're so you. You're so completely you, and it gave everyone permission to be more themselves. So it says, let me not posture, let me not front, let me not say yes to lives I don't want. Let me not use words that don't mean a thing. Let me be fly as I am, no trying. Let me be good for my heart and not my rep. Let me be still when I can't take a step. Don't let me get too caught up creating my face. Let me just love me all over the place.
Oh, wow.
I'm just like,
wish you were here. I can give you a big love.
I'm giving you a big love hug. I just am so grateful for your existence and your wisdom, your teaching. And
I'm so happy we met.
Me too. And can people come? Do you ship it all over? Can people go to America Village Apothecary and order elixirs and things?
Yeah, some. Yeah, there's not many there now. There's not much there on online now. But
but they can watch your course. They can tune in and learn from you that way.
They can watch the course. They can read the journal. Yeah.
Awesome. Beautiful.
Shake these bones, oh, I gotta shake these bones, oh, I gotta shake these bones, oh, I gotta shake these bones. Shake these bones, oh, I gotta shake these bones.
Thank you all for tuning in and for listening to the show. We're on Instagram at End of the World PC. You can make a sustaining donation to the show by visiting our page at patreon.com/End of the World Show. You can leave us reviews wherever you listen to this, particularly if you do it on iPhones, do it on Apple Podcasts, leave us a review. Our show is produced and edited by the very tender and sweet Zach Rosen, and we are transcribed by Lise Furtick. And music for our show today comes from Tunde Olanaran, Mother Cyborg, and the Bingsons. We love y'all. Cast a spell. We did it!
Oh, that was so lovely. That was great.
Shake, 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 shake.